So right now we have Adrian Raya and Ramon Trujillo. This is their altar behind them, and we're gonna do a few questions. All right, so how did you feel creating an altar for historical figures and individuals that you haven't actually met?
Well, I feel like it was, first of all, an honor to be allowed to speak of this Longmont's history, right? I'm not part of this community necessarily, but I feel like the events that happen and the individuals involved in the event speak to a wider range of people. It speaks to the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
So it was an honor for me.
Cool.
Yeah, for me personally, like with everything being so relevant in today's time, I think that was, it was nice to be able to put my creativity into something like that instead of something that's so saturated. Not that I don't want to support BLM, but everyone's done that at this point, and everyone's, recreated those, and it's nice to bring historical figures, kind of reminding everyone that it's just, it's not new. It's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
It was a good opportunity in regards to that. It happened, what is it, 40 years?
40 years ago,
40
yeah.
years ago,
Uh-huh.
and it feels like it's a story that might have happened here recently with everything going on.
Yeah.
And it felt like a really perfectly timed opportunity to speak to an issue that is very much still relevant, strangely, after all these years.
Yeah, 40 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And what about creating altars? Like, does altar building align with your everyday practice at all?
Yes.
It does? Or do you think that maybe moving forward you'll kind of take on anything like this again?
It was nice to have purpose with my work. A lot of my work is just open-ended and open for interpretation, so it was just nice to be able to kind of have a concrete idea to really bounce off ideas. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. If opportunities present themselves, then very, very possibly so. It was nice to be able to work with something with a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't get to work with altars, so it was, again, it had more meaning to it, so with every little thing that I was thinking about creatively, I had to be really careful with it. Whereas in my regular body of work, I'll just try to recreate like some traditional classical painting and then just slap on an element from contemporary, culture. But with this, you have to be a lot more careful because you're speaking on behalf of somebody else, so it's not just your voice. I would not say that I would not do it again in the future. It definitely depends if the opportunity presents itself again. I would be glad to do it.
Yeah. Cool. So Adrian, I originally asked you only to do this project, but then you mentioned that it was really important to you to involve someone else. So tell me why you decided to involve Ramon for a collaboration for this exhibition.
Well, the event that you presented to me as the one that you really wanted to make sure that somebody addressed it, after reading into it and reading what actually happened on that night and how two friends basically stuck together, ultimately both lost their lives. But I felt like in order to have this project make more sense, I would need to have another person as well, a friend of mine, to join me in on this, two Hispanic young men trying to retell or revisit the history from two Hispanic young men that were unfortunately murdered at the age of 21. So I felt like it would have made it that much more meaningful, first and foremost. But also, I mean, have you looked at Ramon's work? Like, we've been meaning to collaborate. Like, I met him at MSU and the studio, the painting studio, but it was just, things were always so busy and we didn't really have the opportunity to collaborate before. And Ramon had the idea to collaborate and this came up and I was like, this is perfect. This just works. It's all in the timing,
Yeah. And then Ramon, do you feel a deeper connection to this story and this, this historical event and this project because it was a collaboration?
100%. That's a tough question. I think so, yes, because we were able to talk about it more, and I was able to bounce off ideas and have someone to speak about it with. Otherwise, it would have just been an individual project and really just in my own head. And so it just allows me to connect to the story in a different way that I probably would have never really seen it from a different perspective that Adrian kind of presents to me. It's been helpful, and I think, yeah, it's kind of made it more impactful and important to me in my work.
Cool. And then as two emerging artists, do you think your practice will continue to incorporate like community-based projects, keep addressing social issues or anything like that?
I think so for sure. My work's been kind of leaning that direction anyways, and this kind of is just another project that is another step forward in that direction. Like I said earlier, a lot of my work is open-ended and left open for interpretation, which is fun for me, and I actually absolutely love doing that, but it's hard to grab a lot of people's attention doing that. I think a lot of social issues are very important. A lot of focuses that I have personally, and a lot of my art are focuses on endangered species. You know, I do a lot of animals and things like that, and so that's just something to talk to the community about and try to bring light to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, my focus is in the educational field, so being maybe high school teacher, art teacher, maybe middle school, I don't know, secondary. But I feel like even in that field, I already just wanted to be able to reflect or mirror the student population and the diversity within it. Because I don't know about most of us, but I didn't really see a lot of brown teachers in my schools when we first moved into the US. So I wanted to bring that in that aspect of my career. And I also paint outside of that. So I feel like what I paint is ultimately just a part of me. And if I'm trying to do this within my classroom, it'll definitely translate into whatever visuals I get to work on.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that is Adrian and Ramon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.